What's up, guys? Welcome to Own the Chaos. The stock market is crazy and chaotic, and we made it our mission to help you own it. Fat Man Zoom, crazy stuff going on in the stock market today. What you got for me?
I think the only thing we need to talk about right now is the Pfizer vaccine. This week has been just crazy volatile. Pfizer comes out with the news that they have 90% efficacy, effectiveness in their trials. So everybody goes crazy. I wanted to get your thoughts on that because, to be honest with you, man, that's great news. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I feel like this move is happening a little bit too quickly where everybody goes out of tech. Zoom crashes, Peloton crashes, all your stay-at-home crashes. And there's a few things that I feel like people aren't considering. What are your thoughts about the vaccine and really how that plays out moving forward?
Yeah, man. I mean, we've gotten a lot of questions about this already in the days since this announcement, and there's just a lot of uncertainty. I've been telling everybody we're not out of the woods yet. We got a long ways to go as far as this vaccine's concerned, and I think everybody kind of dismisses the fact that vaccines take a long time. This is an insanely fast time for a vaccine to be developed. Normally, vaccines, for them to be distributed, will take 10 to 20 years to perfect, and we're trying to squeeze all that down within a year. We've done it in about 9 months so far. They've gotten to a 90% success rate, and there's more that they could perfect on this. We could even see as high as a 95 to even 99% effectiveness. We still have Moderna, we still have Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca are still in the mix as well. So we could see a vaccine that's even more powerful or more successful than the one that Pfizer came out with. Not only that, but we have the distribution side of things too. It's going to take a while for this to come out to actually be distributed to the masses.
Yeah, and if you actually look from a technical perspective, if you look at the Pfizer chart, and I mean, when we got the news on Monday, Pfizer shot up above $40, almost to $42. So on that day, the high was $41.99. So it got right at 42. And if you look at it on the daily, it's actually coming down steadily.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the news that didn't really help it. So the news comes out that the CEO and the chief corporate officer both sold shares. And that's, we talk about conspiracy theories all the time, but this is like, what I'm thinking is like, I think they also realize that there's still things that need to happen. The trial still is not finished.
Right.
Let's be clear, people. There's still more time with the trial. They have to apply for emergency use authorization. Keyword apply. That's not gone through. So there's months. It's not days. It's not weeks. It's months that this is going to take. And so I feel like the chart is reflecting that. And I don't even think fully yet the market has realized this is going to take time.
It hasn't, and it is crazy to see how many investors have abandoned some of those remote work plays, those coronavirus plays that we have seen do so well during the last 6 to 9 months because of people staying at home and kind of reacting to this new normal. And I think too many people are too quick to pull the trigger on, well, we're just going to go back to the way things were. And I'd hate to say this, but I just don't think that happens. I don't think that we see things going back to the way they were ever. And I'm not saying that they can't to a certain extent, but I think that, when it comes to, and we've talked about this before on this channel, when it comes to remote work, people aren't going to want to go back to work like they used to. They're not going to want to commute like they used to. And really, employers, I don't think are going to want to pay the leasing costs and everything else associated with that either. I think there's going to be a lot of consolidation as far as that's concerned. And that is just one piece that I don't think is going to go back to where it was before. And we have some stocks that we want to share with you that we think have just been beaten down, that don't deserve to be abandoned just yet. But before we do, we also want to encourage you guys that click the join button. If you guys want a daily watch list from us, we are absolutely crushing it over in the Chaos Crew. Every single day we put out a watch list before the market opens. We also provide private live streams as well as all kinds of other goodies. Help support the channel. If you hit the join button, we would love to have you guys over as part of the Chaos Crew. Fat Man Zoom, what do you got for me for the one of the stocks that we're watching? So we got 3 sectors, right, that we're talking about. One of them is remote work. The other one is housing, and then e-commerce. And we each have a stock that we love in each one of these spaces. And so what's your favorite one that you got so far?
Yeah, so we'll start with remote work because I think that's the one that's been beaten down the most.
Yeah.
I got Peloton, man. I think this to me seems so straightforward. Peloton dropped below $100, and you can go over the chart in a second, but to me, I think this is absolutely insane. When we come back, I don't believe that gyms will bounce back like everybody thinks. I think gyms are actually the last thing that people come back to.
Yeah.
So that just gives strength to Peloton. Right now, Peloton is about to get into their high season with the holiday season coming along. They've already been crushing it. Demand's high. They have more products down the pipeline. So everything points to bullish for Peloton. And even if this vaccine goes through, by the time it's distributed, we're talking about multiple quarters worth of growth for Peloton. And honestly, I don't see this slowing down in 2021, if I'm being quite frank.
Yeah, man, you took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, I'm looking at the chart here now as well, and this has come down from 140, sitting all the way down at 106.85 as of this recording. We said it was an absolute steal below $100 a share, but it doesn't mean that it's not a buy still here, sitting at 106. You know, you brought up some really great points as far as it being peak season for the holiday season, and also we have a lot of resolutioners during the January, February months that are going to want to get back in the shape that maybe can't go to the gym. We're already seeing some of the lockdowns kind of, they're going to go back into a lot of the restrictions. We already saw that here in Maryland. I'm sure we'll see it across the board as well before long. So Peloton, comes back into the picture here, and just kind of back to what we were talking about before, as far as Pfizer and the length of time that it might take for us to see a vaccine. This is still very much in the works. And once you have a Peloton, I mean, they got you. There's huge cult following. They have a subscription-based model as well. So once they have you, I think the lifetime value of a Peloton customer is only going to continue to add value to this stock. We love this stock. Fatman Zoom, I'm looking at here as sitting at over 105. That becomes its new support here, I think. If we see this move up over 110, I think that this is going to continue, and we'll start to see those highs again leading into the end of the year.
Hey, and I will tell you one more thing. One thing I've learned in my 38 years on Earth is you never bet against Beyonce. And they announced that partnership with Beyonce yesterday, and that just sealed it for me. Never go against Beyonce, people. Listen to me.
You can't go wrong with Queen Bee, I guess. So for me in the remote work area, it's got to be Zoom, man. I can't believe how much this has been beaten down. It was all the way up at $588 highs. It came down as low as $366. I actually told people on Twitter yesterday, please, for the love of God, go buy some Zoom. This is not going anywhere, whether we have a vaccine, whether we eradicate COVID-19 or not. Zoom is here to stay. This is one of those examples that we're talking about as far as, a resource or a platform that is just not going back to the way that it was. This is only going to continue to help remote workers. We've seen this being used on platforms like Saturday Night Live and, just all over mainstream media. We're probably going to see this more into schools and that sort of thing. Zoom is just getting started here, and I don't care if it's trading 100 times its sales. It's going to continue to roll here. With it coming back down to 588, it's only at 410 right now. It's bounced from 366, which is quite a bounce, but I think it's still got plenty of room to run. This reaction was very clear overreaction, and I think that you get a really good opportunity down here in the low 400s to grab some on the cheap.
Yeah, I mean, surprise, Zoom. I don't think anybody in the Chaos crew would be surprised about Zoom.
No.
We've been talking about it a lot. It was on our watch list yesterday, actually.
Yep.
But below $400 is an absolute gift, as you would say.
Yeah.
But listen, here's the thing about Zoom. You mentioned education. They're not even monetizing education yet.
Right.
They have opportunity in healthcare. There is so much room to grow. I agree with you that it's here to stay, but then there's more. They showed 300% growth year over year last quarter. This is why we put it on a top stocks for November. For this reason, they have earnings December 4th. Everybody's going to be anxious about those earnings. And I think while the vaccine news was a hit and hurt us for the top stock for November, but I expect it to run up through the rest of the month.
Yep.
Zoom will be totally fine. And all these industries are going to realize how much better things are with Zoom in your life. You know, we're doing this by Zoom. So
right.
All that stuff
I mean, we're recording this via Zoom as well. And I mean, all of our meetings every day are done by Zoom. You know, the thing of it is, it's just like, people want to kind of hate on this, and they're like, oh, well, you know, Microsoft is coming out with their own platform. We already know that Facebook does as well. And my rebuttal to that is, okay, well, look at all these other streaming services too, and Netflix still sits atop of all of them. Now, could remain to be seen as far as Disney Plus is concerned, because they are coming for them for sure. But I still say that Netflix is king in that space, and that's how it's going to be treated over here as far as Zoom's concerned. And video conferencing, you know, they're only going to continue to grow from here. We've already seen them make advancements in their development and the way that they handle security, all that good stuff. If we go and look at the chart here, I really like this. You know, now that it's back up over $400 a share, I would be surprised if we did see this fall back down below, but if it does, you can bet it's going to be a buy there. If we can somehow scoop this down in the low 400s, I think you'll be just fine. Even if you get in a little bit later, somewhere below 440, 442, I like that area too. Zoom's going back over $500, folks, and it's only a matter of if, not when. So this is still a screaming buy at this point, even though this has bounced over the last day or two. I think you're going to be in good shape getting into Zoom at these levels.
Yeah, and the next industry we're going to talk about is housing. So for housing, one we've talked about for a while is Rocket. I want to bring this to the table. I've talked about it ad nauseum. Rocket, to me, is just like such a clear buy. They just reported earnings, and it's responded a little bit to the downside, but nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Rocket IPO'd in August, and since August, we've had our eye on it, and this is why we like it. Interest rates are low. They're not going anywhere. They're definitely not going anywhere in 2021. Demand is high. The only thing holding up Rocket is from the run, in my opinion, is really the buyers to the market, the supply. So we need the supply. I'm sorry, not the buyers to the market, the sellers. So the supply, and I think that's gonna make it go off. Rocket got a little bit hurt last earnings because their CEO mentioned that this is going into their slow season, but all indications say it's not going to be as slow as normal. If they can start showing that supply is coming, then we'll be great. Zillow did this. Zillow went off. IPOB we talked about, Open Door, in the stocks you're about to talk about, all that stuff points positively. Now, Rockets reached highs. I mean, IPO in August, they reached highs shortly thereafter of nearly, I think, $35.
Yes. $35.
And now it's come down and it's kind of toying with the $20 level. I'm in Rocket. I've stayed in Rocket. I'm waiting to add to it. And it's been tough, Brad. It's been really tough, because I want to add, but I'm waiting to see which direction it decides to go. Because if it goes down to near 18, if it cracks below 20, I'm adding on. But if it runs past that key resistance you talked about, which is 24, I'm adding on there too. So I think it just hasn't decided the direction. Be careful, but be ready, because this sucker is going to move when it decides which way it wants to go.
Yeah, and to your point, I'm actually going to pull it up on the chart here as well. I mean, you know, we've seen just massive moves in Zillow and some of the other ones, and this one just continues to lag behind. They also announced in their third quarter earnings they're authorized for a $1 billion stock buyback, which is absolutely insane. This stock's going up, folks, and it's only a matter, again, I hate to keep repeating myself, but it's only a matter of when, not if, this is going to go up. The real key resistance for this, and we've talked about this ad nauseum, I think, a lot, is just $24 a share. Every time it comes to meet that $24 resistance, for some reason, it just keeps getting beat down there. So I really want to see Rocket get up over $24. I feel a lot better about this if we can see that. But they have a lot of cash on hand. They talked about that in their recent earnings. So they have plenty to spend. We've also seen them acquire another company in Canada, which was huge for them. They made partnerships with Realtor.com, which is the largest app-based real estate platform. They're everywhere as well. Their marketing strategy has just been absolutely incredible. I just saw them on Barstool Sports, one of the podcasts I was watching. So, I mean, they're just everywhere. I think that Rocket is just only a matter of time, man. We've also seen a lot of short interest on this, which makes no sense to me. So I think if we see some sort of positive catalyst out of them, then we could potentially see a short squeeze out of this, and that would be a glorious day. That is for sure. For me, in this space as it relates to housing and real estate, it's going to be D.R. Horton. It's ticker symbol DHI. They also had earnings last week, and they did phenomenal. They came in and said that they had record quarters. They uplifted their guidance and outlook for 2021, thinking that it's going to be a banner year for them. I've kind of been talking about it being a banner year for the stock market and the economy overall for 2021, but D.R. Horton is obviously going to be in this conversation, not just because of the way that housing has been as far as demand and interest rates and that sort of thing, but we're also have a new president coming in. Joe Biden is very big on adding more subsidies for housing, and this only benefits D.R. Horton as well. So more housing that will be built from the government, also from the residential side, from retail side of things. This is just going to continue to roll here, and this is why we like Rocket so much. This is why I like D.R. Horton so much. It's the largest home builder in that's publicly traded, and their CEO is very, very bullish for the 2021 fiscal year for them. They went up 9-10% after earnings. I think this continues to roll here, like it even sitting here at $72 a share. What you got? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, and I think this is what frustrates me with Rocket is the CEO of D.R. Horton is saying the housing boom shows no signs of slowing. The rates remain low. Like they're instilling confidence. They increase their dividend. Like all these things are the reasons why it's moving. And I have to point to like how the management, Google did this, right? Yeah. They didn't do a great job of really articulating how great the opportunity is for the company. But yeah, it's the same thing. Throw a dart at any one of these housing companies that's established itself, especially from the virtual space. These companies are good. So D.R. Horton is going to be good. Yeah. They're going to continue to blow it out. And I'm excited to see where this thing goes. And when with the dividend, I think that only helps to get more buyers in as well.
Yeah, I would like to add too that Rocket is going to be on Mad Money tonight. So maybe it'll give them some exposure.
We didn't mention the $1 billion buyback, right?
Yeah, no, I did. I mentioned that.
Oh,
sorry. It's all right. But
sorry, guys.
But I think that you're right. I don't think that perhaps they do a really good job of selling themselves. And sometimes that's just a big part of it. You got to pump up your own stock to a certain extent, not to a level to where it's unhealthy, but, show the world what you guys got, because this is just a really good company as far as Rocket's concerned. But D.R. Horton, Rocket, we love them both. Moving on to the next one, which is e-commerce. So this is another one that's kind of been beaten down, another sector that's been beaten down. Everybody's like, oh, well, if we have a vaccine coming, then we don't need e-commerce anymore. And you couldn't be more wrong. We've seen a massive movement when people have gotten laid off. What have they been trying to do? They've been trying to come up with ways to make more money, whether it comes down to creating and building new masks or new crafts that maybe a certain skill that they can do, building furniture, that sort of thing. We talked about Wayfair. We've talked about Shopify. We've talked about a lot of other ones, but my favorite one I like the most is Etsy. They just got they were just moved into the S&P 500 this past September. They have been beaten down a lot, coming from around $150 a share and gotten beat down over the last couple of days down to as low as 109. Sitting at 130 right now. I still think this is a buy. 154.88 is its previous highs. I think we get there, and I think we get there in a hurry. I just don't see how e-commerce slows down. We just saw the Chamber of Commerce. Consensus Bureau talk about how e-commerce still only takes up of about 17 to 20% of retail buying, retail sales, which is mind-blowing to me when you think about how big Amazon is, and it's still only a small portion of sales overall in the retail space. So I like Etsy a lot, only because they actually have been able to separate themselves from the Amazon, conglomerate. I think that people like to just lump them in with Amazon as far as e-commerce is concerned. And I think that they've just done enough to be able to differentiate themselves to where it gives them a little bit of a competitive edge, especially if you're a smaller seller that has a storefront that's trying to build your business online. Etsy is going to be a great platform for you. And if you're stuck at home, or if you want to continue to work from home, this is going to be a great platform for those folks as well.
Yeah, when you look at these companies, especially ones that are in uncharted territory, their customer acquisition strategy kind of packages people into categories. So there's like your first movers, right? Your early adopters.
Yeah.
And there's certain people that they tend to they tend to operate the same way. So people who want to be the first to get it, they're willing to take a risk on a product. They get excited about it. And then you get to a point where as a company, there's a static point and you got to get mass appeal. Well, what COVID did is it forced people to adopt. And when you get to that point, when you have the masses finding something and trying it out, they don't go back. So the challenge was, how do we get people over the hump to really use e-commerce in that way, right, and figure out like why this is so awesome? So to your point, e-commerce isn't going anywhere. E-commerce, you have all these companies who are trying to scramble and create an e-commerce platform and to, adjust to the times. Well, we're not going back.
Right.
So the best thing that could have happened to Etsy, unfortunately this situation, but like this allowed them to get more people to their site, fall in love with their site. And now all they have to do is keep them. And that's not going to be hard.
Yeah. I mean, look, we were going to go in this direction anyway. It's just that COVID-19 pushed everybody in this direction. It was like everybody was hesitating to kind of really grow in this space as fast as they probably should have. And it just kind of forced everybody to do that. Etsy almost tripled their storefronts since the first of the year. That is astronomical. Unbelievable. So that's why I love this company a lot. I think that you'll be in good shape if you end up taking a shot on this one as far as an investment's concerned. Buy it, hold it, thank me later.
Yeah. And another one I like that's very similar to Etsy, Shopify, for the exact same reasons. Shopify, check that out as well. It's at great levels. But I'll tell you what my pick is, kind of e-commerce, PayPal.
Yeah.
I've been in love with PayPal, and everything I say, I know you're a fan of Square.
Yeah.
Take your pick, either one.
Right. Yeah.
The reasons why, you have a company that they have a large user base. They're all virtual. Not only do they have PayPal frictionless transactions, we're going away from cash. They have Venmo peer-to-peer platform. They're just exploding. Their numbers are exploding.
Yeah.
And that industry has such huge margins. And so as they continue to grow in the economies of scale, that gives them an opportunity to just grow exponentially faster. I'm excited to see when they really start in reinvesting the capital that they're gaining, how that's the direction they're going to go and how they're going to move. Square's sort of like the new kid on the block, and they have a lot of excitement about it. So I think they move quicker, but PayPal to me is just more established. I like what they're doing. They recently got exposure into Bitcoin, which I think is a smart thing to do and to build off of that excitement. So I think they're an early mover in that. Gets me excited about PayPal. And when looking at the studies with Venmo and the adoption of Venmo, yeah, and the people that are staying with it, it's just pointing to huge customer satisfaction, huge loyalty, and that just bodes really well for PayPal.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree more with you here. And, this has fallen below $200 a share. Look, frictionless transactions is going to be the future. I can't actually wait for it, honestly. I don't like wallets. I hate I hate having cards in my pocket, and so this is just going to continue to become more and more of a thing, even after we see a vaccine that is effective against COVID. And like I said, this is just another one of those examples of even if COVID is eradicated from the earth, right? PayPal is still going to go in this direction, and they're only going to continue to get bigger from here. At $192 a share, I think this is still an absolute steal, even though it's bounced from 180. We still got room to run from here, and I think that it gets back up over 200 and beyond rather quickly, even leading into the holiday season. I mean, and this kind of plays into the Etsys and the PayPals, the Squares, Amazon shops, all those. We're kind of forgetting that we're getting into holiday season, and we've talked about this before. We think it's going to be a record year for e-commerce, for just shipping and all that stuff this year because of how we're going to have to be able to send gifts and that sort of thing. So these are all going to continue to roll, even if there's a vaccine. So this kind of like helps you hedge your bets a little bit when it comes to that, because if you're worried about a vaccine hurting these stocks, you couldn't be more wrong about that, in our opinion.
Absolutely. And I think as an overall message, listen, the vaccine news is great. with our top stocks, we always talk about looking for the opportunity, looking for the discount. I don't think this move is material for these stocks that have been beaten down. I think these are discounts, opportunities, and keep your eye out for them, because I think you're going to see more volatility, and I think you can get some good deals right now.
Absolutely. And that's going to do it for the stocks to buy right now, guys. If you like this video, we certainly would appreciate it if you subscribed. If you want more stocks that we're watching, every single day we put out a watch list, and it is the Chaos Crew. If you guys want to be a part of that, help support the channel, make sure you're hitting that join button next to subscribe, or the link in the description. We'd love to have you part of the crew. Fat Man Soom, what else you got for me?
Join us live tomorrow, Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern time. See you guys there.
Hit that like button, guys. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.